M3GAN is definitely not a good guy, but was she a bad girl? Here's my spoiler-free thoughts coming up. Welcome to the Cinefanatics. My name is Robert Adams, and I am here today with you to do a full, spoiler-free review of M3GAN, also kind of known as M3GAN or M3GAN or however you want to pronounce it. So just got out of it, got home, kind of thinking about this movie, and right off the bat, I know a lot of people are going to be comparing this movie to Child's Play, because, I mean, obviously, you've got, like, a killer doll situation. That's what everyone, when looking at the trailer, when reading any kind of a plot synopsis for this movie, this is what they're thinking is, yeah, sounds like Child's Play. And I understand that connection, especially with the connection to the 2019 Child's Play remake-ish that MGM did. For a quick throwback, that Child's Play movie did away with the original story of Child's Play, where the Chucky doll was actually possessed by the spirit of a serial killer. The 2019 Child's Play was more of like an Internet of Things doll that connected to everything in the house, all these smart devices, and would control everything, specifically made by, was it Caslin, I believe? Kind of like a surrogate for Apple, kind of like how we have Apple products all over the place, if you are an Apple household. This is very similar to that, where this is a toy doll that's made by a toy company that has had previous experience creating these like AI interactive dolls. Like the ones at the beginning of this movie are very, very similar to Furbies. Only if like Furbies were cranked up to like 11 with their ability to learn and understand and talk and interact. So this is primarily kind of like the 2019 Child's Play. We've got a single mother situation. This one, you've got Allison Williams from Get Out. She is not really a mother. She is the aunt to our lead actress that we've got in here, which was Katie. Played by Violet McGraw, who does a phenomenal job as the little girl in this movie. Allison Williams works for a toy company that is developing all these interactive AI dolls, and she's privately working on this M3GAN doll. And she decides to introduce this M3GAN doll to Katie as a way to help her deal with the loss of her parents, and kind of like a surrogate caretaker for the most part. And then everything just goes haywire from there, as you would expect in this kind of a movie. I will say that out of all the movies that really deal with, like, say, a robot that has a learning programming built into it, I think this movie did one of the better jobs of showing that. Like, usually, like, a lot of those kinds of movies, you can kind of find, like plot holes, or there's just something that doesn't quite work right. And those flaws are still present in this movie as well. I just think it did a much better job of, like, kind of sealing off some of those plot holes before they could actually be expanded upon and just really take you out of watching that movie. Otherwise, I think the plot in this was done very well. There is quite a few characters that, if you're any kind of familiar with like how horror movies are set up in this kind of a situation, there's definitely a lot of characters that are purposely shoved in here just to be dicks to the lead characters. Like, the neighbor is annoying, there's a kid at the school that's annoying, like, all these people are annoying, and you know that they're setting it up for, like, well, if you don't like this character, guess what? You're not going to be seeing them for too much longer. And it, like, that I kind of feel like takes you out just a little bit, because you start to recognize these, especially if you're familiar with horror movies. But that being said, horror movies got a horror movie, yo, and that's how they work. They set up characters you don't like just to say bye to them a few minutes later or so. So that is definitely present in this kind of movie as well. I want to go back to talking about M3GAN herself. M3GAN is effectively played by two people in this movie. You've got Amy Donald, who's doing the physical presence of M3GAN, doing all the dancing and moving around. Then you've got Jenna Davis, who's doing the voice of M3GAN. And the voice I like of it because while it does still sound like it's robotic, they've got like a little bit of modulation in there, they do a really good job of still making it reasonably sound like a real girl. And that interaction is, I feel like, what's really needed for the character of Katie to have to connect with that robot. And I think it just adds to the performance. Everyone's seen so far, like the clips from the trailer, any commercials of M3GAN dancing around and all her dance moves. The movements of that were still done by a little girl, Amy Donald, and it was very, very well done. Again, it's kind of hard when you take like a 4-foot like Barbie doll looking thing and make it creepy and give it its own personality and presence. And this movie does a very good job of doing that. Again, I'm going to come back. Some of the flaws of the movie is kind of seems very formulaic. It hits a lot of the same kinds of beats that we saw like in the 2019 Child's Play, or any other kind of movie that would say deal with like a kid that has like a killer friend, family member, orphan. I recall was very similar to that same kind of a feel as well. And it does come off as very formulaic, but it's just the way that it's done. While watching this movie, even though I had an understanding of what beats it was hitting, it still worked. It kept my attention. It kept me entertained. A lot of the things, especially that M3GAN does to interact with her family, just works so well. Singing popular songs, like at one point she is singing Titanium to Katie, and it worked so well because it was a nice, peaceful, happy moment between them, and then turns around and there's like all terror breaks loose. So like those kinds of moments are really good, bouncing off of the other terrifying moments. And then big shout out, I would say, on this would be to director Gerard Johnstone, who directed that 2014 Housebound. This is his second like full feature film, and I think he's done very well. Of course, he was picked by Blumhouse, in which Blumhouse is doing a really good job of making some pretty quality horror movies. Yeah, sure, not all of them are winners, truth or dare, but yeah, some of these, I'm actually really surprised how well this was. And I mean, I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good time. I do recommend go see this again with what I typically like to say. Go see it in the theater with a bunch of people. There's some good highs on this that are going to make you laugh. Some of the dialogue, there's dialogue in this movie that comes out of nowhere. At one point, they're talking, Allison Williams is talking to a detective, and it's just a short scene. It's really the only time we see this detective in this movie. It's about like a 2-minute or so interaction, and almost everything he says is just crazy insane. Like that would be actual dialogue a detective would be saying. I thought that was hilarious. So like there's some good comedy in it, but the comedy doesn't take you out of the seriousness of the movie. I highly recommend it. I would actually give this movie probably I'll give it like 4 stars out of 5. I think it's going to be pretty good. Needless to say, that means this is my number 1 movie of 2023. So we'll see how it stacks up come the end of this year. I probably need to watch more movies, so we'll see. Anyways, that is going to be my review for M3GAN. What did you think of the movie, or what did you think of this review? Let me know down below in the comments. Make sure you give a like to this video and subscribe to us. We're doing big things this year. We got big things coming, and you're going to want to see everything we're doing because we're ramping up this year. 2023 will be the year of the Cinefanatics, so this is going to be a lot of fun. Please join us on this journey. You can follow us at Cinefanatics MLP on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me personally at Robert Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, and youtube.com/@RobertAdamsMLP. Anyways, that's going to do it for this review. Go see this movie, and we'll see you later. Good night, peace, morning, whatever in thing we say. Hasta la vista. No, there's another robot movie.